I want to start somewhere unusual today. I want to start with a question that I think most of us have never been asked directly. Who did you have to become to be loved? Not who you are. Not who you were born as. Who did you have to become? What parts of yourself did you quiet down, smooth over, or completely bury so that people would stay, so they would approve, or at the very least not leave? Because here is the truth about us as human beings. We are incredibly adaptive, almost too adaptive. We learn quickly. We read the room. We pick up on tone, on silence, on what gets rewarded and what gets rejected. And slowly, quietly, over time, we adjust. Not in one big moment, not in a dramatic transformation, but in small, almost invisible shifts. A comment here, a reaction there, a moment where you were too much or not enough or just misunderstood. And without even realizing it, you begin to edit yourself. Until one day, you wake up and realize the version of you that people know is not entirely you. It is who you learn to be. And today, I want us to sit with that, not rush past it, not fix it immediately, just sit with it, the grief of it, the intelligence of it. And maybe the possibility that it does not have to stay this way. Hey, welcome back to Ife Random Reflections. This is the space where we talk about the things people feel deeply, but rarely say out loud. Where faith meets real life in a way that is honest, not polished. Where healing is not just something we talk about, but something we practice, slowly, imperfectly, daily. I am really glad you are here. Truly. Because this conversation, it is not light. But it is necessary. Today, we are talking about survival personalities. The versions of you that were built in response to something. The version that learned how to navigate difficult environments, complicated relationships, and unspoken expectations. And maybe more importantly, we are asking a harder question. Are those versions still serving you, or have they quietly become cages you forgot you built? Before we go deeper, if this space has been meaningful to you in any way, take a second to follow. And if you have ever felt seen here, a quick rating or review really helps this grow beyond just you and me. All right, let us go there. I want to tell you something about a younger version of me. I learned early, not through lectures, not through direct correction, but through experience that my emotions made people uncomfortable. Not because anyone sat me down and said it plainly, but because of the reactions. The times I cried and was told I was too sensitive. The times I was excited and someone responded like I was doing too much. The times I went quiet and nobody noticed, so I assumed silence was easier for everyone. So I adjusted. I became someone who could hold things in, someone who could process pain privately, someone who could smile in public and fall apart in private. And I thought that was strength. I thought I had matured early, that I had control, that I was doing life the right way. But in reality, I was disappearing in plain sight. And the thing about that kind of disappearing is it does not actually protect you from pain. It just isolates you in it. You still feel everything. You just feel it alone. That is what survival can look like. It is not always loud. It is not always obvious. Sometimes it is just being the easy one, the one who does not complain, the one who does not need too much, the one who keeps things smooth. And if you are honest, there might be parts of that in your story too. Let us talk about how this even happens. Because this is not random. It is not weakness. It is not you being too much or too sensitive. It is adaptation. When we are young, our deepest need is connection. To feel safe, to feel loved, to feel like we belong. And our brains are constantly scanning for threats to that connection. Not just physical danger, but emotional danger. Disapproval, rejection, withdrawal. So when something feels like it could threaten that connection, your system responds. It starts asking, without words, what do I need to do to stay loved here? And then it learns. If being loud gets you shut down, you become quieter. If expressing emotions gets you dismissed, you become more contained. If speaking up gets you ignored, you stop offering your voice. If love feels conditional, you learn to perform for it. And the thing is, it works. It actually helps you survive those environments. It helps you stay connected. It helps you avoid pain, at least in the moment. But here is where it gets complicated. What protected you then can start limiting you now. Because those patterns do not just disappear when the environment changes. They come with you. So now you are an adult, still over-explaining, still shrinking, still avoiding conflict, still struggling to ask for help, not because you are incapable, but because a part of you learned that it was safer not to. And staying in that version of yourself, it is exhausting, not just physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, because you are constantly managing yourself. You are thinking ahead, editing your words, softening your tone, replaying conversations, trying to be just enough but never too much. And there is a specific kind of loneliness that comes with that. Being surrounded by people and still feeling unseen. Because deep down, you know they are interacting with a version of you, a curated version, a filtered version. And part of you wonders, if they saw all of me, would they still stay? So you keep performing. Not because you want to, but because it feels safer than the risk of being fully known. And I need to say this gently, but honestly. That loneliness you feel sometimes, it is not always because people are unwilling to see you. Sometimes it is because you have not felt safe enough to let them. And that is not blame. That is awareness. For me, I cannot separate this conversation from faith. Because at some point, the question becomes deeper than personality. It becomes identity. Who are you outside of what you had to become? There is a story that always stays with me. The story of Zacchaeus, a man who had already been labeled, defined, reduced to one version of himself by society. And maybe over time he believed that version too, but then something shifts. Jesus stops, looks up, and calls him by name, not by his role, not by his reputation, not by the identity people assign to him, by his name. And there is something powerful about that moment. Because it suggests that beyond all the layers, beyond the adaptation, beyond the performance, there is still a real you. And God sees that version clearly, not the edited version. Not the acceptable version, the real one. And maybe, just maybe, part of your healing is allowing yourself to believe that you do not have to perform to be seen by God. That you do not have to shrink to be held. That the version of you that feels like too much is not too much to him. So what does this look like in real life? Because awareness is one thing. Living differently is another. It starts small. It starts with noticing. Noticing when you are filtering yourself. Noticing when you are saying it is fine when it is not. Noticing when you are about to default to the version of you that feels safest, not truest. And instead of judging it, you get curious. Where did I learn this? What was I trying to protect? What did this version of me help me survive? That curiosity matters, because it creates compassion. And from there, you practice. You do not rip everything open at once. You do not force yourself into full vulnerability overnight. You take small risks. You answer honestly when someone asks how you are, at least with one safe person. You express a preference instead of deferring. You allow a moment of discomfort without immediately fixing it. And slowly, your system learns something new. That being real does not automatically lead to rejection. And yes, there will be grief. Grief for the years you spent hiding. Grief for the relationships that might shift as you change. Grief for the version of you that worked so hard to keep everything together. Let yourself feel that. Because that version of you, it was not wrong. It was doing the best it could with what it had. I want to say this directly to you. If you are tired, this part is for you. If you are tired of holding it together, tired of being the strong one, tired of being easy to love at the cost of being hard on yourself, you did not fail. You adapted. You survived. You made it through situations that required you to become someone specific to stay safe. But you are not there anymore. And you are allowed to be different now. You are allowed to be known. Not the polished version, not the I am fine version, the real version, the one who needs, the one with opinions, the one with softness and strength existing at the same time. That version of you is not a problem to fix. It is someone to come home to, and maybe that is what this whole journey is. Not becoming someone new, but unbecoming everything you had to be, so you can finally meet who you have always been. That is it for today. If this sat heavily on you, do not rush past it. Let it stay with you a little. I would really love to hear your thoughts. You can find me on Instagram at random quotes, and tell me what part of this hit you the most. If this resonated, share it with someone. You never know who is quietly carrying the weight of a version of themselves they no longer recognize. And if you have not followed yet, do that before you go. Take care of yourself genuinely.